Hey everybody, Kyle Sasser here, and it's everybody's favorite time of the month. That's right, market statistics time. So these market statistics are for Pinellas County for February 2021. Now you're probably asking yourself, Kyle, I've watched some previous videos. You look like you're in a different place, and we are. So you remember last month we were from Studio B, which was the beach house. Currently, this is Studio RS for Ruskin. So we are currently, our house is still flooded, the house in Shore Acres, and I have been putting together a flood video. So if you're interested in flooding, flood insurance, or how all that process works, be sure to check that out. But we're here just kind of taking it easy, living the country life for a little bit. We still have our house in Saint Petersburg, but I gotta say this place is pretty cool. Some of the other videos, I think I'm going to show some of the features around here. Now, second question you're probably asking yourself is why are we looking at February numbers when we're in March? And the reason why is because the local board of realtors do take a little bit of time to put together the market statistics, typically about 20 days. If you would like your own copy of these numbers, please feel free to click the link below, sign up. I'll make sure you get a copy of these every month if you would like to keep track of kind of what's going on in the market. And also, your third question, yes, I am trying a little bit of a different microphone technique here. We'll see how it goes. Other thing to know with these statistics is that they are for February 2021. And they are comparing February 2020. So that February 2020, if you can remember that far back, that is before the pandemic really took off. So we're still comparing current pandemic numbers to kind of pre-pandemic numbers. And some of the percentages in here are pretty crazy. I'm kind of curious to see over the next few months what it's going to look like as we start getting into April, May to see how our comparison holds up versus pandemic numbers. So without further ado, let's jump into these market statistics. So for Pinellas County for February 2021, the number of closed sales increased 10.1% from 945 to 1,040. The median sales price increased 17.9% from $280,000 to $330,000. That is a huge jump in price, 18% in 12 months. That is a crazy number. The thing to know with median and average, if you remember back to your math classes in grade school or middle school, or I forget when they were exactly. But so average is, you take, let's say 5 homes, add them all up, and then divide by 5. That'll give you the average. Median is a little bit different. So basically what median is median is the midway point. So if you have, let's say 15 homes, the median price is whatever the middle house is. Personally, I like median sales price a little bit better than average sales price because averages can be swung significantly depending upon if there was a large number of very expensive homes or a large number of inexpensive homes sold in any particular time. It's a little less volatile, I guess you could say. But yeah, the median sales price went up 17.9%. That is very significant. Average sales price has climbed 15.2% from $362,000 to $416,967. I think we can just call that 417. Total dollar volume, which is the number of all single-family homes sold in Pinellas County, climbed 26.7% from $342 million in 1 month to $433 million. Again, a significant increase. And what I'm looking at here, what I'm seeing is basically that even though the number of homes for sale is drastically less than what it used to be this time last year, the number of homes sold has increased significantly by 10%, and the price of that home has also climbed significantly. So what that tells me is that demand is crazy high in Pinellas County, and it is literally unprecedented. I've talked to some of the old timers that have been doing this for 30, 40 years, and no one has any sort of conception of how long this is going to continue, and it's pretty much never been seen before either. So we're in unprecedented times. The number of new listings, if you remember, this has been ticking up a little bit the last few months. Unfortunately, last month it went down. So the number of new listings dropped 10% from 1,239 in February of 2020 to now it is at 1,107 new listings. And then the number of total inventory, this is every single family home that is for sale, actually dropped 60%, 59.9%. From 2,334 homes to less than 1,000 homes, only 935 homes for sale in February 2021. That is a staggering number. And just they say the real estate market is hot. It is ridiculous. So yeah, the total number of active homes for sale dropped 60%. And we'd been hanging around like 50, kind of bumped up to 40 when we had the upticks in the number of new listings. But currently we are under 1,000 single family homes for sale. That is ridiculous. Now, I do like to dive into these numbers a little bit further, kind of break it down by price point for certain parts of these statistics. Because the honest truth is that $1 million house is going to sell for a little bit. $1 million house is going to sell a little bit differently than a $300,000 house. Just the timelines are a little different and all that. So I definitely like to break it down by price points. So I'm just going to hit a couple high points here, just stuff that stands out to me. So this is closed sales by sale price. And I like to kind of point this one out because it kind of points that the entire market has shifted up significantly. So there was no single family home sold for less than $50,000 last month. Between 50 and 100,000, there was only 5, which was a reduction of 66%. And basically fewer and fewer homes for sale under the 200,000 mark. 200 to 250 has been hanging out pretty steadily. So 150 to 200,000, there was a drop of 36%. There was only 80 homes in that price range for sale, or homes sold in that price range. And then once you get to 250 and above, there's actually more homes for sale in that price point. And that's because prices across the board have slid up, which means that there's more homes in these higher price categories. So 300 to 400,000 is up 27.4% to 237. 400 to 600 is up 61.3% to 200. Personally, I think it's time for them to kind of change these brackets because there's not a lot of use in the 0 to 50 and the 50 to 100 bracket. Even going back like 2 or 3 years, there's not many single family homes selling in that price point. So if you are on the MLS board or Florida Realtors and watching this, please change those brackets. They're not very useful. Median time to contract, which is how long a house is on the market actively for sale before it goes under contract. The interesting one to me is 50 to 100,000, which increased 150% to 65 days. So that tells me that home was probably, I don't know. That's a hard one to gauge. Probably it was priced a little too high for the condition it was in. Because remember, there was only 5 that actually sold in that time period between 50 and 100,000. So one house taking a really long time to sell because it was overpriced for the condition is really going to sway that statistics. But across the board, everything else is pretty much shorter. 100 to 150 is down 58.5% to 17 days. 250 to 300,000 is down 65% to 10 days. And yeah, continues on. Just stuff is selling super, super, super quick. Number of new listings. Again, this is a little bit of a grain of salt, and to me also illustrates how all of the price points have slid upwards. So where the average or the median price was around 280 at this time last year, everything is slid up like 40 to $50,000. So what you see is that at 300,000 and above, there's actually more houses for sale. It's the same houses that were there last month or last. It's the same houses that were there last year. Just they've gone up in price now, so they're in a new price bracket. So it shows up as an increased percentage. So 150 to 200,000 number of new listings were down 43.8% to 72. 200 to $250,000 was down 31.7% to 129. And then moving up to some of the higher brackets here, 400 to 600,000 was up 3.8% to 216. So if you're in that price range, there's a few more to choose from this year compared to last. 600 to a million was up 11.2% to 139. And then the largest increase was at the 1 million or more mark, which has climbed 33% for a total of 84. So if you're looking in that luxury segment of $1 million or more, you're going to have a little bit easier time of choosing something compared to last year. And then inventory by listing price is basically down across the board. So $100 to $150,000 is down 84% to 14. $150 to $200,000 is down 62.5%. 200 to 250,000 is down 64.2%, and just 60%, 54.1%. Just it's all down. There's just no houses for sale currently. And then the last page, which I like to call the doom and gloom page, which covers short sales, foreclosures, and all that good stuff. So one thing to keep in mind with the short sales and foreclosures is that we do currently have a moratorium on evictions caused by the pandemic. And last I checked, I think that was extended through June or July. So that means that these numbers are artificially depressed. The question is, how much do you think they're depressed? I've talked to some people who think that there is this huge backlog of foreclosures and, just the floodgates are willing to let loose. A lot of that is really tied into the landlord market because a lot of people renting homes decided to stop paying their rent due to, just difficulties with COVID. To be completely honest, to offset that low of an inventory, being 60% under, we would need thousands and thousands of foreclosed houses to make a sizable impact on that. I'm not going to say that it's impossible. I'm just going to say it's improbable, especially because we haven't had any major disruptions in the economic numbers. Obviously, the pandemic has been a major effect, but economics-wise, on the economics of homeowners and potential homeowners, they have not been as hard impacted as the lower side of the income and job market so much. But just to go over the numbers here, so the total number of foreclosures dropped 61.9% from 21 to 8, and the number of short sales dropped 71.4% from 7 to 2. So as you can see, those are pretty low. And again, we would need thousands of homes to really offset and chew through this low of an inventory. So this is probably the first time that I don't do my daily listings, and that's because honestly, the utility of that the time for that has come and gone because I know what the market's doing. There is literally nothing out there for sale, and that is not changing anytime soon. Seeing active listing numbers this low basically means that this market trend is going to continue. And I know the question everyone is asking is, how long can this continue? There's no way that houses can be this expensive for too much longer. Everyone has lost their mind. Who's paying all this money? And the truth is that nobody knows. And I am not really one to make predictions. I am one to observe what the market is doing and advise you that if this trend continues, then this is what's to be expected. The number of homes that we would need to offset the low inventory is significant. And the one that most people want to point to is the number of foreclosures and the moratorium. The honest truth is that if there are that many foreclosures, we are going to have some additional major problems, major economic problems. And the unfortunate thing is that when you have those significant economic problems, lenders typically tighten up their lending and are not as willing to lend money for houses. So the reason why after the Great Recession, why home prices dropped, first of all, they didn't drop overnight. Everyone's always like, "Oh, I'm going to wait until the market falls out." The honest truth is that real estate moves slowly. People didn't wake up in 2008 and decide to sell their house for half of what they had paid for it 3 years previously. Natural human reaction is to hold out and to try to sell your house for as much money as possible. So it took literally 5 years to slide from the time all of the financial institutions collapsed till the low point. It was 5 years. And the reason why it slid was not because everyone believed houses were overpriced. The reason why they slid is because there was a surplus of homes for sale because nobody could get a loan. And the only people that could really capitalize on it were the ones that had a ton of cash. To get a loan during that period, you had to have immaculate credit and credit history and a sizable down payment. And even with that, it was still tough if there was anything even marginally borderline. So just keep that in mind if you're hoping for a crash. The simple truth is that this trend is going to continue for as long as the pandemic is in effect. So the sooner we can get everybody vaccinated and get everything back to normal, the sooner that the real estate market should at least cool down a little bit. Tampa Bay honestly has had a major change in that we are now on the world stage. Tons of people in the country want to move and live here. Close to the beach, relatively low cost of living, and the homes are relatively affordable compared to places like New York, San Francisco. But to be completely honest, I do believe that the days of low-cost housing here in the Tampa Bay area, we would have to have some major issues happen to start to see regularly homes in the $150,000 to $100,000 range. I think that the perception of the Tampa Bay area has changed too much for that to become a viable option again. And for a little bit of a comparison, to me, that would be like thinking or wanting to wait for real estate in San Francisco to drop back down to, $200,000 homes. Like it's just, it's not set up to ever do that anytime soon. So I wanted to thank you for tuning in for these real estate market statistics. I try to do one of these every month or two. We seem to be in a new trend here now, so I definitely keep an eye on these numbers, make sure that holds up. If I see anything that starts to be concerning, I will, of course, let you know. Be sure to subscribe and to fill out that form via the contact link below if you want to stay up to the date on market statistics. I also do some other fun stuff, some giveaways and all that good stuff. Like I said, if you want to learn about flood insurance and my current experience with a flood claim, be sure to check those videos out. And if you are interested in finding your own great home in Tampa Bay, I would love to help you out. And again, just that contact form below or leave me a comment. I will be happy to get in touch with you and see how I can help. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon.